Right, I think it's got me now. Testing the GF 30mm f3.5 R WR on the marvelous GFX 100S2. I do wish this was my camera. Jump out the frame so we can see how it fares with focus, breathing and focusing speed. Bit of squatting going on there. Yeah, what do we reckon? Close focusing, maybe not. Yeah. Well, the box says it's got me. I don't know how close I can get. Yeah, anyway, that's that test done. We'll know when we've looked at it on the computer. We're going to go into the studio now and look at the thing up close. It's a bit of a funky shape. But yeah, it's going to be one of them videos. A lot of random test samples, my waffle, but then we get to the point of it, what you think about it. So yeah, let's crack on. Right then. There she is. Feels pretty light. Weighs 510 grams. The usual lovely clicks from the aperture ring. F3.5 32. Push the button down. ANC. Absolutely fine. Business as usual with the manual focus ring too. Seems like the, well, traditional GF lens quality. Weather resistance. Everything just seems nice and tidy. Now we've got a 58mm filter thread, which is pretty handy, and as you can see, it's already got a filter on it for protection. This is a review copy, of course, thanks to Fujifilm UK. We've got a linear motor in here, closest focusing 32 centimeters, maximum magnification ratio 0.15 times. Now, glass-wise, 9 diaphragm blades, of course, 13 elements in 10 groups, which is quite an interesting little bit of a spec. Focal length, now in full frame flavors, 24mm, which, going back to my Nikon full frame days, prime days, that was a go-to focal length for me. I think it was the Nikon 2414, I think. I'll have to check that. But yeah, I think that is pretty cool. So 84-degree angle of view, as you can see, fits nicely on the GFX S2. I forget the number, 102. That's all right, that, not too bad. Anyway, that's enough up close. We've got to get out with it and then talk about how it fits and feels after some use, because, you know, you got to get past the honeymoon period. And I know this lens is a bit old now, but you know what I mean. Yeah, let's crack on. After some thorough use out and about, including in the rather wet, grim times that you're seeing throughout the samples, I've got to say the build and handling kind of, yeah, stands up to the GF reputation. Clearly the weather sealing helped me keep going all day, but of course I had to keep cleaning the lens because of the rain, obviously. Now the lens balances really well, actually, on the GFX 100S2. It's easy to operate. The lens hood proved to be a bit of a pig to get on and off. In fairness, you know, the lens feels nice in the hand shooting. I think down to that rather large, relatively large manual focusing ring, you know, nothing gets in the way. It's comfortable to shoot with. When it comes to autofocus, it was okay on this body. Not the best performance we've seen, but perfectly fine for the kind of shot you put this lens to. Manual focusing again, let's go back to that ring. Perfectly fine, nothing special, but gets the job done. It's a shame there's no AF/MF switch on these lenses. You know, that would be a nice touch. Sharpness is excellent, wide open. Edges slightly soft, but stop down just even from f4, honestly, onwards. It's excellent across the whole frame. Color rendering, typical top-notch stuff. Contrast, excellent. Though, when you get to the closest focusing distance, it does dip off a little bit. Chromatic aberration, distortion, vignetting are all fairly well controlled. Now, I kind of struggled a bit, as we said, with that lens hood. And even when it was on properly, ghosting and flaring were rather noticeable in certain situations. Clearly not on the grim days that you're seeing, but yeah. Also, diffraction kicks in around f22, which is perfectly fine, if we're honest. Now, finally, bokeh, pleasant enough. Nothing to write home about. Specular highlights can get a bit distracting at times, and general out of focus areas can get a bit busy, but you know, it's a decent performance. We're going to talk about if this now 4 years old, 5 years old lens is worth it next, after a few more grim samples. It's just test stuff, you know the crack. The lens then, it's been out a while. It's £1,649. So is it worth it? Well, if you're into the flexibility that a zoom offers and you're strictly into landscape shooting, maybe look at the excellent 32-64. But otherwise, this is cheaper, wider, slightly faster, has no direct competition. So I'd have to say yes, the price is fair for a lens that is actually rather easy to shoot with. Produces very good to excellent images, even on a grim day. What more do you want? Well, now we want to hear from you in the comments. Have you used this lens? Do you have an alternative to this? You know, apples for apples. It's possibly not quite possible, but yeah, what do you reckon? Anyway, let us know in the comments and I'll see you there.